Sheets, you want to just go game by game?
Sure.
I think that might be the best route here. Why don't we grab your screen and do it if we
do it that way? All right, hold on. Let's see. Let me get that then. Cashed in a monster on FanDuel last night.
Oh, nice. Me too.
Like 12th or something like that.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I'm never in contention to win, but, we'll take it. I had a good, like last couple of pokes out of the Red Sox in that last inning to get me some points.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
No runs in the 8th inning, I think.
Yeah, and then I got a good score out of the White Sox student, Romy Gonzalez, at minimum cost.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So that kept that going. All right, let me share my screen here. By the way, I'm getting a little sick of interjecting my personal shit into the DFS stuff, but I have to keep saying that I can be called upon to leave at any moment. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, we understand, man.
It's all kinds of just shit show variants going on in Sheets world right now. Anyway, Texas, Detroit. I am getting some Dane Dunning. I guess when a pitcher gets on the mound and the Detroit Tigers on the other side, I guess that your people are going to get to him, and that's just the way it is. He's not exactly the biggest upside type of guy, but this whole slate is pretty weak as far as pitching goes. So he's as good as anybody else, as far as I'm concerned. The interesting thing is that when I first did my builds, I don't know what to make of this. I was getting just an inordinate amount of Texas. Mm-hmm. And then when I redid it, I'm still getting Texas, but just not as much. So I still have Texas as one of my top stacks, but not my top one. And what's interesting is the one change that I made that ended up getting me less Texas was when I gave myself a minimum salary. I don't know how to describe this, but my first build, I was leaving like 1,000 on the table in every lineup almost, and getting like $1 billion in Texas. And then I said, I just don't feel like leaving 1,000 on the table, so I just did a 500 minimum, and then I got off of some Texas for that. I don't know what any of that means, but anyway, I like Dunning and I like Texas.
Yeah, I like Texas as well. I have no interest in Dunning. I understand it. It's just not for me. At least as of right now. It might change.
It's like your Ranger Suarez sort of.
No, Ranger Suarez is a real pitcher. I like Ranger Suarez better at 7,500 than I like Dane Dunning at 7,500.
Speaking of real pitchers, remember how about yesterday when I said, "Well, who's got more tricks, Greinke and Mikolas?" No, Mikolas is actually a good pitcher. What is he? What did he have? 40 last night?
I played him in 15% of my lineups.
Yeah,
he was, and he just smashed the field as he will.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. Like I said, it felt like the perfect matchup for him. You have a team, that he's going to be able to work through quickly. But I like Texas. I'm not getting to Texas personally, though.
Oh, really?
In all fairness, I'm not building enough lineups. The morning slates, I tend to just play a couple lineups, and they're just so expensive, and I don't see them as being better than the other teams that I like. So that's the reason I'm not as high on them as maybe the field is. What are your thoughts on the Angels and Chicago?
Yeah, so Angels and White Sox. I think Lance Lynn is one of my higher owned pitchers as well. It's not my top owned guy. The top owned guy I hate, but I have him anyway. Get there. We'll get there in a minute. Yeah. But I have a good amount of Lance Lynn. Why not? Again, weak slate, weak pitching. It's just as good as anybody else, and he actually can do stuff. It would be nice if there was no Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, but you get what you get. And I'm not getting to Barria. And when it comes to stacks right now, I'm actually getting the Angels as a decent amount as well. So, and that's usually the case with Lynn with me. I usually get to Lynn and usually get to the other side. So that's where I am in this game.
Yeah, I have no interest in the Angels. I like Lynn, and I'm probably going to just be well underweight anything that the White Sox have ownership wise. Not interested personally. It's fine. I just like the other stacks better. That's all I can basically put it. If you did have to play, if I had to make a play, I guess Berger's not in the lineup, so that kind of knocks it down for me because he's got probably the most power of anybody in that lineup. But Eloy is certainly like you could if you end up in a spot, he's a very reasonable price at 3,900. Even though they did move him up a little bit. And the White Sox lineup's looking a little bit better day by day, but I'm still not there yet. And you do have 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in, but it's a really nice warm day, 81 degrees in Chicago. God, the Midwest is like overheating right now. And meanwhile, in California, we just scraping the 60s.
Speaking of which, so I mean, granted, I haven't done like that much work. I just ran projections. I ran some lineups to see what I like or whatever. Is the wind like blowing out in Chicago at like 50 miles an hour or something at 100-degree weather? Is there something about the weather in Chicago that's giving me like a 10-point projection on Justin Steele? I don't understand this at all. What's going on here? Do you, if that's a hallucination, do you like Justin Steele? I mean, what's going on with the Cubs Tampa game?
To be honest, I don't really have a whole lot of interest in this game either.
We don't. Okay. All right.
Justin Steele is very talented and was really bad his last time out, and I don't know what else to say. Okay. I also would rather take righties against Tampa, not lefties. And 78 degrees in Chicago. It feels like every time we've been talking about Chicago, it's been like 50 degrees with the wind blowing, and you got crosswinds at 78 degrees. That's much better hitting weather. I wouldn't mind actually if you took a bat or 2 years. I mean, Zach Eflin's been incredible, but like, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to last forever. I have no problem with either stack. I'm just not playing them myself.
All right. Next game, Cleveland, Baltimore. We have another opportunity to play Shane Bieber, and I am in there. I got a full 35% of him. The good thing about this one is that there's not that much ceiling on the slate. I mean, there's one that we'll get to in a little bit, I guess, but there's not that much ceiling on the slate, so it's not like I have to have him outscore like Cole and all these guys. So I like I do like Bieber, and I'm actually getting some degree of Cleveland in my stacks as well. So that's what I like, Cleveland and Bieber.
Yeah, so I get the argument, like it's going to be a bullpen game for Baltimore with not especially good pitchers, but they're not the worst either. Cleveland is hard for me because they don't really have like a lot of guys. I mean, they're basically like they're like a pumped up version of the Nationals. They have a little more power, but they both are teams that don't strike out and hit a bunch of singles, and that doesn't really help you much in DFS. So I am a little lower on the Cleveland side. I'm coming more and more onto Bieber, especially when I saw the lineup that they're releasing out there. I mean, just with no Mullins, and Aaron Hicks is going to be in the lineup, which I didn't even know the Yankees had waived him or that he had signed with Baltimore yet. So I was behind on that news. But you've got Ryan O'Hearn there at the bottom, Ryan McKenna, who never plays against righties starting today. There is a lot of spots I wouldn't mind attacking, a lot of strikeout spots here. And I'm okay with taking a shot on Bieber, even when, things haven't been as encouraging. And one thing is, like, he's gotten off to some bad starts in games, like his last game. But he, like I think of the 5 hits he gave up in the game and the 2 walks, like six of the combined 9 that he gave up for the game were in the first inning. You just need him to have that clean start, and he can be off to the races. The more I think about it, I think I have to have Bieber over Lynn, and I was going to go the other way around. But I think seeing Baltimore's lineup, I'm more on the Bieber side than I am the Lynn side.
All right, 3 more left. Atlanta, Oakland. I have first. So first pitching wise, I'm not getting to Schuster. Although again, you have a pitcher on the hill against Oakland. Certainly is worth considering. I actually do have a little bit of him actually. So I don't know, 6,500. I have some of that. And then the real decision is not to get ahead of ourselves, but which stack you like more between Atlanta and the Dodgers, who's coming later, right? So I think Atlanta is obviously an elite option here. I don't know where ownership's going to come in with them compared to the Dodgers, but I think that's your main in your, in your main single entry builds, which one you take between Atlanta and the Dodgers. But I do like Atlanta, obviously, quite a bit. So Atlanta, and you could talk me into Schuster maybe if we want to spend up for some of these bigger bats. But in general, just Atlanta here.
Yeah, I don't like Schuster because I like Oakland.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So that's my way to get different on this slate is
Right.
I do like Atlanta and the Dodgers the best, but I think Oakland as a complementary stack is the way you can get
that. That'll do it. You know what I mean? Just a little 3-manner or something like that. Okay.
Exactly. And also they won't, like, they don't have their lineup out yet, and Locke is in 50 minutes. There's a chance they may not have their lineup out because the way the games are staggered today. That's going to make that's going to make this game a little bit, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Dodgers in Atlanta, because there could be a different lineup they release. More likely Atlanta sticks with the same type of lineup that's projected. The Dodgers have done different things all year against lefties and also partially haven't been healthy. So I'm kind of curious to see what they do. But I would guess their lineup is pretty predictable. But Oakland won't get owned. And even if they were going to have some looks, it's going to be small enough where I don't mind taking it. Favorite, I like Laureano. If they let Noda play against the lefty, I'm willing to take that shot at first base. I would need some spend downs because I want to play. Well, it depends on what you do with pitching, but I'm probably spending up at pitching today. So it really just becomes like a situation. I think I'm probably not going to stack Atlanta and use the Dodgers as my main stack. Use Atlanta as either a complementary for, what I would do is use them as a complementary for Texas, but I don't think I'm going to build enough lineups. So most of my lineups are going to feature some combination of, even including 3-3-2s of like 3 Dodgers, three Oaklands and 2 Atlantas, or flip that around. I actually think that's very fine on this kind of a slate. The problem is there also feels like such huge explosive potential for Atlanta, the Dodgers, to some extent the White Sox and the Rangers as well. So I'm a little concerned about it, but I just have the Dodgers and Atlanta so far ahead of everybody else, and Oakland is the right pricing. And I actually like them today, so that's how probably I'll be organizing my lineups. And just keep an eye out for the Oakland lineup, because you might get like a Carlos Perez who's not projected in the lineup right now. He might be batting 4th like he has been doing, unless he's injured, which I might have missed. So I don't know who's playing necessarily for Oakland, but I do like them today, and they will be my complimentary stack, my complimentary / get off the board stack. But yeah, I really like Atlanta as well. Just worth noting, though, and I still played Atlanta last night, and it's actually better hitting weather in Oakland during the day. It's 63 degrees. There's 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to center. But just keep in mind when you're playing Atlanta and teams like this, that it really is like a huge stadium downgrade for these guys, like in general. And it's not like a spot you want to avoid today. But if you're looking for justifications of reasons to fade really good hitting teams in seemingly great spots, when you have like one of the best hitters parks for power in baseball and you go to the worst or one of the worst, it's just always going to be a little bit of a downgrade in the long run. So just keep that in mind. I guess that's all I wanted to touch on. All right. Keller and Wood, what do you got?
Yeah, so these are two completely different ways to approach the slate. Wood is going to be a very, very chalky cheapo. And Keller is going to be, the most expensive pitcher on the slate, who is really not projecting that great. And he's not going to get owned not to say all that much, but not as much as he maybe could otherwise. So I don't know how to play this. I have this feeling that you're only because you told me you're spending up for pitchers that you might want to use him. It's not really my style to do that. I'll probably bite the bullet and do something like Wood and one of the cheapos, so I can pay up for all those bats, like in the Braves and the Dodgers. But I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, dude, I can play Keller and still play the Dodgers. So why don't you tell me that that's what you're going to do, and then I'll try to do that.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do. Most likely, my current plan is to play Keller and the Dodgers with Bieber, I think. I also don't mind that.
You can make that work. All right.
That's no problem. But Bieber and Lynn may actually lead you to a build you like better. Because it does get a little tight when you get into the situation. But I'm just past the point of treating anything that Mitch Keller is doing as anything fluky. Even when he's had some tough games, it's all because they get hits. He doesn't walk anybody and he strikes out everybody. I don't know, I'm just going to keep playing that guy, especially against a team who's third worst now in the majors against right-handed pitching, or third highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, and is projected to put out a lineup with like 3 rookies in it. Like, I'm in on Keller, and I'm not doing the spend downs today for pitching. If I did, I would have probably made a Wood and line up with who's the other schmo at 6,500?
Exactly.
Schuster.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just off of that build. The Pirates' offense is a little bit better than It's okay. Let me rephrase. It's starting to get a little bit better, and they have a couple guys who have been good against lefties for their career, and a couple guys who have been really good this year.
I don't mind this take at all. By the way, that's what I was really thinking about is doing something with the Pirates.
I think that they're all really interesting, and especially Rodolfo Castro. If you just saw his numbers against lefties this year, it's pretty incredible stuff. That's 330 ISO against him. He's been really, really good. So and he's affordable. The other guys aren't ideal. It's in San Francisco, but it is during the day, so it's not even that much warmer. It's 59 degrees, but I think the park tends to play better during the day, but usually it's because of weather. I'm into the idea of if I wasn't going to be using, there's 3 teams I thought about for my complementary pieces, and Oakland, the Pirates, and then the Nationals were the other ones that I wanted to maybe combo stack. But that's pretty much all. I mean, I don't have a specific Pirate outside of Castro that I really like, but I definitely think maybe a Reynolds. They're just get expensive. Reynolds, Joe, and Castro, McCutchen, Joe, and Castro, something like that.
Well, sneaky, by the way. Wow, this is sneaky good news as we go into this next game that Castro is both second base and shortstop eligible. So if you do want to do that, you can still play the leader of the free world, Vargas, at 3,100 at second base.
Yes.
For the Dodgers.
Yes.
So that's kind of an interesting little thing about Castro, which I didn't think about. So tell me, so rank the Dodgers. I mean, obviously, you can play the Tigers against Corbin. So if you can do that, you can certainly play whatever Dodgers show up. How are you building this? Like, what kind of guys do you want to play? I mean, where are you at with these Dodgers? Which are obviously going to be rating to be
they're my number one. Just a little bit ahead of Atlanta. I don't think it's a huge, crazy gap or anything between the two of them. It's Corbin. It's actually crazy. The guy with the guy 35 at bats Miguel Rojas has off of him. He's got 15 hits and 3 home runs and 2 doubles. That's pretty amazing, actually, considering that Miguel Rojas. I didn't even know he had 3 home runs in the entire span that Patrick Corbin's been pitching for his like in general, just amongst any teams. That's just kind of funny. But one of the rare days where maybe you can include Miguel Rojas, who literally has no power upside apparently, unless he's facing Patrick Corbin. I have no idea. I have no problem ever playing the Dodgers lefties against the lefties. It's pretty decent weather, 67 degrees, wind blowing out. Probably going to be at the Yankees game sheets this weekend. I was going to mention to you, by the way, Dodgers Yankees. Oh, nice. We don't get to have those very often. I've gotten to see one Dodger Yankee game at home in my lifetime.
Awesome.
Actually 2 But so anyway, so I'm excited about that. But the Dodgers just seem like it's a great spot. I know Corbin has been less terrible. He gave up 6 runs in his last start, so it's sort of back on the terrible train there. But he had only given up 2. He hadn't given up more than 3 runs, I think, in his previous 5 starts. I guess if there's anything that maybe this is a guy who was once a very good pitcher, and you think as they get older they sort of adjust. And he and Robbie Ray sort of went 2 totally different directions. He became like the worst pitcher of the year. The Robbie Ray won the Cy Young, and I don't entirely have explanations for it. So I like Corbin. I'm sorry. I like the Dodgers, and I like the idea of some of these cheap Nationals. I actually think like Corey Dickerson. I know he's going to be further down in the lineup, but if he gets on, I think there's an excellent chance that he steals, because Syndergaard is the worst player in baseball history at holding runners on. It's not an exaggeration. That's actually a fact. And he's gotten worse. And they have the pitch clock now. So whoever can run, Luis Garcia, Lane Thomas, Corey Dickerson, but Corey Dickerson's like 2,400. Those are all kind of interesting plays to me. Also, just this is not one of the guys that Keeper Ruiz caught, but there was people joking with me on Twitter last night about it was just like a DM thing that we had talked about before about, because I always say the catchers versus the guys who they used to catch. And of course, Ruiz was a Dodger prospect and came up with him, but Syndergaard wasn't there, so you can sort of throw him out. But I like the stolen bases for the Nationals, and I like the Dodgers overall as my favorite stack. That's going to be chalky, but I sort of said the ways I was going to get different. Sheets, how are you going to get a little different on this slate? Because it feels like a small one.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm trying to figure out how to get this Keller Bieber combination here with Dodgers. I mean, you got to start with Rojas, right? Like Rojas and.
No, you start with Vargas, and then you've got Chris Taylor, who's 2.8.
Oh, wow.
So pretty balanced out for you. And you also have Trace Thompson at 2.1.
Is he going to play?
I assume he would. He would play against lefties this season.
Yeah, okay, you could definitely do this. All right.
It's just a matter of how you build it. And then if you combine it with the cheapos, like you've got Roman Laureano at 2,500 for the A's.
It doesn't even matter here. I mean, like you start with these three. I mean, whatever you want. Really.
Yeah, I just don't want to play 5 Dodgers. I don't think that I'm just going through on these smaller playing slates. I guess that Muncy and Trace Thompson might be low owned enough to where that works. It's kind of weird that they'll be off Muncy. Maybe that's the best way to differentiate your Dodgers.
Hey, listen. Keep in mind that again, we don't have the Dodger lineup until later.
Yeah.
So maybe, just maybe, they're not as high owned. But
yeah.
But the thing is, the people are gonna play Texas.
That's true.
In this first game.
Yeah.
Including probably me. So there's gonna be like some ownership taken away from Dodgers early. And like who people are going to play here? That's the thing. They're all so expensive. All these Rangers are so expensive that I don't know what it's going to actually. I don't think it's going to help actually. Nobody's going to play Bubba Thompson. Yeah, maybe.
They've got I think Tavares is reasonable. And then you have Bubba Thompson in there, but I would just rather play I would try to find ways to play. I'd probably rather play Josh Smith than Bubba Thompson. I don't think those flat 2K plays are often like really bad in my opinion, because people flock to them and they skip the guys who are like 2,300 because of a fractional projection difference, when realistically the guys who are 2K in this case, one has absolutely no power, the other one has consistently had power and speed in Josh Smith, or at least shown power and speed upside. It's just funny. I just personally would side with the guy who's a few hundred more if you can find a way to do it.
You like Syndergaard at all or no?
No. I mean, it's fine. He probably gets through okay, but I'm still trying to play the upside game even with not a great pitching slate.
Because Alex Wood play kind of stinks. I don't know. I think I'd rather play Dunning. I don't know. Maybe play like you said. Maybe just play neither.
Yeah,
I really don't know. I really don't know what I want to do. I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out. But listen, all these pitchers have issues. The only issue with Mitch Keller is just his price. His price. That's all.
Yeah. He doesn't. Yeah, I don't think he's shown issues this season. And even like we might feel stupid for not playing. Like if there was 3 guys who I would feel stupid for not playing today. Well, 2. It'd actually only be 2. Keller and Bieber would be the 2 that could blow away the field, and they're not. Even though they're going to be owned, it's not like enough. You know what I mean? They're going to. You have Keller as the 3rd highest owned pitcher and Bieber as the 9th highest owned pitcher. I'll sign up for that. Like I'll just take my chances with that, and also it allows me to play some Dodgers, Atlanta's. Even though I'm using some other pieces, at least I'm getting a little bit off the board even in other places as well. So we will. We'll let's see. What is the? I'm just going to take a quick look here. There's. What is the night thing today?
I didn't look at that. I haven't looked at the main slate at all. If in fact,
I think this is the main slate.
No, there is like a 6-game slate later. Is what I'm saying. But my point is that I currently have plans to not be around for the main slate.
No problem. I got I'll cover the main slate.
Current plan. If I am around, it's probably not the greatest. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We're rooting for me not to be here for the.
Well, I hope that you're not here then, because that doesn't sound very good.
Something like that. Yeah. But what I would like to do is do a golf preview.
Yeah, we'll do a golf preview. Can you give me a little bit to just finish?
Do you want to wait till the slate locks? We'll do it in like 40 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be that late, but I'll probably be ready in like 20. But
okay, let's call it for 1 o'clock.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you this evening for a live, and good luck on the early slate.